Hello everyone, how are you guys doing? I hope you guys are having a very good time wherever you are. Again, we're back with a fresh episode for you guys to enjoy. So this week, okay guys, I'm so excited to share this episode with you guys, but because as African Renaissance Television, we're not only trying to enrich the audience that we have here in Ethiopia, but also expand throughout the continent and become a voice for our continent, Africa. That being said, this event that we'll be passing on next was organized in Kigali, Rwanda, the most beautiful and cleanest city that you guys can ever imagine. It was organized there by University of Global Health Equity and Ministry of Health with different other institutions. They came together and they created and they got to a point where they're like, okay, we need to discuss on advancing medical education in Africa. So that's going to be the theme of the event. And policymakers, deans, medical doctors from all across the continent and all across the globe came together to discuss on the theme of advancing medical education in Africa. We are the only TV station from Ethiopia to be part of this event, and we feel so proud. And I hope you guys will enjoy the show. We were able to talk with different influential people or with the organizers, and also we were able to talk with some of the sponsors, to the medical students, to oh my god, I can't even list them all, guys. So enough with my introduction with the event. Let's pass on straight to this episode, and I hope you guys will enjoy and stay with us. Guys, we're finally here at the big day. I am now at Kigali Convention Center. As you guys can tell, today there's a very big event. As I have told you in our introduction, we will be attending this event, which is organized under the theme Advancing Medical Education in Africa by the University of Global Health Equity. So I'm really excited because there are a lot of things that we are going to see in this event. We'll be staying with organizers, and also different doctors from all across the globe and all across the continent is here to share, to network, and to really advance the medical education that we have here in our continent, which is a very important and critical issue that we have to discuss right now. So I've already got my badge, so let's get inside. We've got the access, and we'll see what's going to be for you guys to enjoy.
We need to train more people in medical education, train them well with the highest standards, and embrace technology as fast as possible, and obsess it and achieve it until we come back here and say, said it in 2025. Now we are back and it has been achieved.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. Please introduce yourself for our audience.
Nago Mahari. I'm a neurologist by training and also founder and president of People to People.
My name is Gabriel Tafari. I am an infectious disease doctor by profession. I actually came to the event from USA, and I practice in Washington, DMV area, DC, Maryland, Virginia.
First of all, how are you feeling?
Great. It's fantastic.
Yes.
Yes, very fantastic.
So let's start with talking about People to People. As we have seen, People to People is one of the partners of this event. So tell us a bit about it.
People to People was founded about 25 years ago when HIV/AIDS was a major challenge in Ethiopia. And it's an organization whose philosophy is people's problem can be solved by people. And it has served as a bridge between Ethiopia and the diaspora, how to transfer knowledge and technology to our country.
We have extended also in doing public health education. In COVID time, we were very heavy in educating the people, and are also at the level of advising the governments on COVID at the get-go. So a very impressive program, mainly run by volunteers. Nobody is paid in that program, so very impressive.
That's really admirable.
Yeah, yeah.
25 years is a lot, right?
Yeah, yes, very, very. It's
Yes.
a quarter of a century, right?
Exactly.
yeah,
Then now
yeah.
it even looks much longer when you
Yeah,
say it like
yeah.
that.
Eventually, we also developed a triangular partnership, meaning the diaspora and local institutions and the Western institutions. These three, when they work together, a lot can be done with a very minimal budget. So using that technology, that approach, we have been instrumental from the inception, working with our colleagues to initiate a neurology training program in Ethiopia, emergency medicine at Blacklight, and also social science, social work program at Siddhiskila. So we also have like a small boarding school for girls who have lost their parents from HIV/AIDS.
Wow.
And some of those girls have become doctors, engineers, and so that's how.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
So how is the event overall?
So the event is very beautiful actually. The plenary session was very impressive, diverse, and some with practices, some with vision. So I find it very interesting actually as
Yes.
a beginning point or as a launching point.
So this is great. So Africa, to move forward, has to find its own solution because so far, like for over the last 15 years, different mechanisms have been tried. Sometimes trying to buy solutions from outside, but I think the solution has to come within.
True.
And for the solution to come within, children of Africa has to come together, discuss, brainstorm, and see what they can do. I think this is a great opportunity, a great platform, because it connects about 120 African medical school deans who have 110 in person and I think 10 virtually.
So what do you expect as a person that is involved with people to people and same time as a person that's in the medical industry? What do you think this event will change?
So practically, as we see in every sector, Africa is left behind. So one thing we don't want is Africa to be left behind. Number two is we don't want to be guided by people who are not Africans on our practice. So that's a medium like this helps us to know, even when it comes to medical problems, Africa's disease problems are a little bit different, but we're joining them. So this kind of event, one gives us a lead to be responsible or accountable or in charge of the program, and then build the confidence and also share what is coming out, technology, everything, and make it Africanized, adapt it. I mean, the basic program could be the same, but the problem always is adapting it
Adjusting
to your,
it, yes.
adapting to your local problem.
Thank you so much for your time. If there's anything else that you would love to say, that you would love to pass on for our audience, let me give you the
I
chance.
appreciate the opportunity. Health problem is not something which is going to go away. The public should know what has changed is from infectious disease. We are transitioning to non-communicable disease. So when you see diseases like diabetes, it's actually across the globe, the diabetes rate is very high. So the public has to be aware of these programs. Listen to a program or group like this, so we can get behavioral changes, everything, so minimize or mitigate the what you call the prevalence of this non-communicable disease. So public should be aware because one way or another, because we're living longer, one of those non-communicable diseases may affect us or our family members. This is not something you have to push aside, keep it for someday. You have to act early. So this kind of program, this kind of organization like P2P should be listened and followed.
Thank you. I am also appreciative of your program. I think you recently interviewed President Trump.
Yes, I did.
No more drugs.
That was a great interview. By the
Thank
way.
you. Thank you so much. All right. Okay, have a great time, sir. Thank you so much and have a great time.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank you.
I'm the Dean of the Medical College East Africa at Aga Khan University, based in Nairobi, with campuses in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and Kampala, Uganda.
Okay, amazing. So, how are you feeling? How's the event?
The event is fantastic.
Okay.
Fantastic. This is the first such meeting of medical educators from Africa, bringing together more than 100 deans of medical schools from across the continent, the north, the south, the west, the east, everywhere. So this is the first gathering of its kind, and it's very exciting. The energy is it's infectious.
I can tell that. I can literally tell that.
Yeah.
So the next question I have for you is, let's talk about the effect of colonization when it comes to medical education in Africa.
So there was medicine in Africa before the colonialists came. There was a system of apprenticeship where medical experts used to provide healthcare for the people, and medical education then was something that was done through apprenticeship. And so it was steeped in the culture. It was steeped in how people do things in this part of the world. So colonialism disrupted and introduced a different way of training in medicine, a way that had grown up in the West and came to Africa, was transplanted into Africa in order to try and create the same version of health workers that we have in Europe and in the North. The problem with that is that it removed everything cultural from the training of health workers and made it a very dry process. And so today we are now talking about introducing humanities into medical training when Africans lived and breathed humanities. Even when they were doing the medicine, even they were doing their health, they lived and breathed humanity. So colonialism disrupted our system. Instead of perhaps augmenting it, instead of perhaps building something into it, it completely erased that part of our culture and life and replaced it with something that grown up in the colonial world.
That is so true. That is so true. So what do you think this event is going to change in the medical education?
This event gives us an opportunity to sit together around the table and think about what medical education should look like in Africa. And the conversations have just begun. We have also formed a consortium of medical schools in Africa that's going to continue those conversations into the future and hold accountable those that write curricula, those that implement those curricula, so as to ensure that they are relevant to the people of Africa.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're tired. If there's anything else you'd love to say, though, I'll give you the chance.
So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. I love it. Thank you.
Okay.
Great work.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great time.
Thank you. We say in Kiswahili, asante sana.
Asante sana.
Yes.
Are having an amazing day here in the beautiful, cleanest city in the whole world, Kigali, Rwanda. And as we have opened this show for you guys, the opening ceremony of this event, which was organized in the theme of advancing medical education in Africa by University of Global Health Equity, which is based here in Rwanda, and Ministry of Health of this country, and many other potential partners. So today we are on the second day, guys. But before that, I have learned some language, which is Murakaza Neza. I hope my random fellas won't be mad at me if I pronounce it wrong, which means welcome in Kinyarwanda. I just wanted to mention that. So today, as it is the second day of this event, we'll be expecting a lot of engaging panel discussions, networkings, as this is the last day of the event. So as you guys have seen from the opening ceremony, as we have tried to show you guys, this event is majorly organized to connect all the medical people, students, policymakers, the diaspora, African diasporas that are living all across the globe to come together and tackle a very serious issue, which is health-related things. In the second day of this event, there's going to be multiple activities that's going to take place, including panel discussion. There will be a discussion about how we can engage the diaspora when it comes to advancing the medical education in our continent, Africa. And at the same time, there is going to be some topics about AI, technology, and all of that. So I don't want to spoil for you guys. I want you guys to enjoy as African Renaissance Television is here in Rwanda attending the biggest conference held in when it comes to medical related things. So I will lead you inside. Such a beautiful compound, guys. I'm serious. The cleanest and the greenest compound I've ever seen. Stay with us. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to have this conversation with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you. My name is Abebe Bekele. I'm a professor of surgery. I am the Dean of the School of Medicine at the University of Global Health Equity here in Rwanda for the past, I guess, 7 years now.
Wow. So how's the event? Because it's so nice to see people gather around for the same purpose and discuss and network as an organizer. What's your reflection?
It's very exciting. It's very exciting. There are about 466 medical schools in Africa. Getting together the leaders of these medical schools, this huge number of medical schools, educators, researchers, students, partners into one room and talk about the basic problems Africa is facing in training, retention, curriculum. It's so exciting. It is not a common occurrence in the continent. Such professionals do not get frequent occasions to get together and talk. To my knowledge, this is the very first gathering of this sort, this big. So it's exciting. The future looks bright.
Yes. So as we've been talking about medical and medical education in Africa, which is very important, what do you think, especially as Ethiopia being the capital city of Africa, what kind of role should we take in leading the education further, especially in medical fields?
The oldest medical school is the Addis Ababa University, which is about 60 years old now. In fact, much older than the majority of the medical schools in the continent. Ethiopian professionals are spread all over Africa. Specialists, subspecialists, leaders, researchers. We already are making a footprint in Africa. All we have to do is now recognize it, recognize that leadership role, and put that into action.
Recognize is the word, because it's important when you take control of that and to be aware, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes.
There is a lot to be done in the continent. There are lots of shared problems. Almost all African countries have the same problem, the same issues, the same shortages, the same deficiencies. And Ethiopia is, by default, has become the leader. It's headquarters of AU. And there are lots and lots and lots and lots of trained human resource. It's only a matter of time before we recognize that we should lead, we should contribute.
True, true. So I know, making this event happen is such a long journey, but congratulations.
Thank you.
And I'm so proud to see us leading in such an important sector.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
How, if there's anything else that you'd love to say, especially as we're now running out of time, if there's anything else that you'd love to say for our audience, I can give you the time.
Well, in my opinion, the future of Africa is bright. There are lots and lots of youth who are interested in development, in growth. Let's give them that opportunity. It's now our responsibility, those in certain positions, to make sure the youth have the opportunity to thrive, to grow. I'm sure you know of the saying, ascend up the ladder and then take away the ladder with you. Let's not do that. Let's make sure we create a playing field, a level playing field for the young, for those who aspire to come to leadership, to power.
True. Succeeding together is really important.
Otherwise, it's a failure.
Yes, yes. Congratulations again. And all responsible bodies, public and government organizations, this is really our responsible to make this happen for our continent.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, and again, congratulations for you and your team.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us.
Love to have this
appreciate it.
conversation.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
So I'm Dr. Akwiasambang. I'm an interventional gastroenterologist at Massachusetts General Hospital, Harvard Medical School. And I'm also the co-founder of an organization known as the Pan-African Organization for Health, Education, and Research.
Wow. So you have a lot of burden, a lot of responsibilities on your shoulder right now.
Yes.
So how's the event?
It's been great. It's been fantastic. I have absolutely loved the different sessions. I've loved the diversity in speakers. I've enjoyed how, like the most recent session we had, I enjoyed how they gave the history of the medical schools, how we started with developing medical schools in Africa and where we are today. And then I think another emphasis is just sort of the quality of medical education and how do we come together as a continent to strengthen medical education across the African continent. So I think it's really, really been a really good conference so far. Yeah.
What I've noticed is that people are networking, as you have said, people from all across the globe are here now for a common reason.
Yeah.
So what do you think is going to be the impact of such kind of event?
Yeah. So I think the impact is connectivity, right? Now that we're here, we've met each other in person. I think we've now developed a connection. And then the next step is collaborating. And I think the big thing is what's next? What's the action plan? Is this one of those situations where you came into a conference, we shared knowledge, we exchanged knowledge, and then, at the end of today when the conference ends, we never, keep in touch again. But I think what I'm gathering from the meeting is those next steps. And the next steps is sort of like a call to action.
True.
So what do we do to continue enhancing medical education? What do we do to standardize the quality of education that the trainees are getting? And then I think one of the important things that we probably should address is now that they've graduated, what next? Do we have a role in terms of, medical students getting jobs, in terms of medical students specializing and then getting jobs? Because I think another thing is, as we're building these schools, I like the terminology that was used by one of the speakers. He said, false saturation, which I understood because my question is do we have too many medical schools? We're graduating so many people and then some of them don't have jobs, right? You have thousands of people who are sitting at home after they finish medical school because they don't have a job. And that may not be our role to create jobs, but do we have a role in terms of guiding, whether it comes to policy, working with the government to say, now that we've created these jobs, we've created these, schools, we're graduating these students, can we now create the opportunities for them to work? Because there's a need, right? And I think that's what he meant by false saturation, where it seems like we're graduating a lot of people, but we actually have a need. They're just not filling those needs. You've got rural hospitals that don't have doctors. You've got even central hospitals that don't have doctors. So I think it's how do we make the connection of increasing the quality graduates, but then also placing them into positions so they can actually work.
Perfect. That is so true. I know you had a long day. I don't want to take much more time because I know there's a lot of things that we can discuss. But if I ask you, what's your final word for those people, especially students, medical students that are watching this show? In fact, anyone. What is it that you have to say?
So I would say, there's a couple of things I would say, but I think one of the first things is mentorship. I tell students that they have a lot of power. Medical students have power, but sometimes they don't realize how much power they have, but they do have a lot of power. But mentorship, I think, is a big thing. Being able to, as a mentor myself, being able to provide guidance, because I didn't reach at this stage by myself. One of my greatest mentors is Dr. Margaret Wilson, and having someone like her who's been able to provide guidance along my career path has been extremely helpful. And so I would wish for others to have a mentor. I would wish for individuals who are in a position to provide mentorship to go ahead and provide mentorship and guidance to our medical students. And then the other thing is the diaspora. We keep talking about the diaspora. And I think the question I would pose to the African Union is, could we have the support from the African Union that brings the diaspora together? Because that was a question that came up. It's sort of, we've got different diaspora societies, associations, etc. But how do we bring all of them together under one umbrella, and then we can contribute as a single unit to the various projects within the African continent?
Because it is a huge resource.
Yes. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I hope we'll see each other soon.
Absolutely.
Have a great time.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
it was
you.
lovely having this conversation.
Lovely meeting you. Thank you very much.
The future of Africa health is going to depend on this moment. We have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to reshape medical education, and by extension, frankly, the future of healthcare in Africa. The choice is ours. We can continue to be fragmented, we can continue to be using outdated system, or to really build a bold, integrated, future-ready medical education system that meets the needs of our people.
My name is Fisseha, Professor Fisseha. I'm an obstetrician gynecologist and a lawyer by training, originally born in Ethiopia, born and raised, I guess one could say. Left for higher education for the United States, lived there for about 3 decades, and I now call Rwanda home.
Wow.
Yes.
Your second home?
That's
Rwanda
home. That's home.
Beautiful,
it's
right?
Gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely, people are beautiful. For me, the beauty of this country lies in its history. It's a country that has emerged from an ethnic division, from a genocide against the Tutsis, and a country that chose to move forward with unity, love over hate, unity over division, and a country that has just remarkable governance and leadership, and one I see as a model for Africa.
That is so true.
Yeah, it's an incredible country.
It is,
yes,
it is.
Yes.
So today we met in this amazing and powerful event, which is organized to advance medical education in Africa.
Correct.
So what is it that you have to say about this event?
It's absolutely an incredible event. Over 137 deans from over 30 African countries got together to talk about how do we forge and reimagine the future of medical education. As you know, medical education is shaped by what's called the Flexner Report. That's over 100 years old. Our medical schools are fantastic. We take the brightest minds and we train few number of doctors, but the population is growing, the demand is high, so we cannot continue the status quo. We cannot meet the healthcare needs of our population by training 50 to 100 doctors at a time. So the goal of this consortium is it has brought the brilliant best of Africa together to reimagine the future of medical education. A consortium is launched today, and the plan is to say, how do we think about the future? What kind of doctors do we need that are not just taking care of disease, but also focus on public health, focus on health promotion and disease prevention, link to the national strategy, link to Ministry of Health, understand health policy, but also focus on research and discovery, and not only be acquiring existing knowledge, but generators of future knowledge. And this knowledge can come from laboratory science, it can come from bedside, or it could come from the community. So it's really an exciting moment, and there is a lot of commitment. This is also coming in the backdrop of foreign aid cut, which has really rattled the continent, but for me, it's an incredible opportunity. We cannot run a nation or a continent of 1.5 billion people on foreign aid and dependency. So this is an opportunity to reimagine healthcare in Africa, to be innovative, to push through, learn through our constraints. And governments need to really allocate resources for healthcare. If you look at education in Africa, it's mostly financed by government, so why not health? So instead of depending on foreign aid, which also comes with strings attached, oftentimes when donors come, they also come with their own priority. They tend to support very verticalized programs. They tend to fragment our health system. So for me, this is a welcome opportunity for us to reclaim what's ours, foster a Pan-African collaboration, ideally even create a core curriculum that is shared among African countries, and really forge forward. So it's really a truly exciting moment.
Wow, so you just answered all of my questions. So
amazing,
I'm left with nothing.
Oh, that's incredible. That's incredible.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank
You are
so
so
much.
beautiful.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and you're so good.
Hi everyone, my name is Nadej Nziza. So I'm a doctor in biology, more specifically immunology, and I work on infectious diseases.
So we met at this event organized for advancing medical education in Africa. So how is the event? How do you explain it? What's your reflection?
So the event is really interesting. It's always great to see countries in the south getting together, talking together on ways to improve the health system, healthcare within our continent. And we gave a talk on the diaspora specific part of the conference, where we show how people from Africa, when they go abroad, they can not only learn from what we see abroad, but also get them to understand all the, the tools that we have, how we are always improving and adapting, because there is this always idea that the global north is going to come and help the global south, but we need to change this, the way we tell the story, and we have to learn our, all the ideas that are going on in our countries. See all the tools that we have, the equipments, all the technology that we're developing, resources we have that can also be useful for the global north. So that was really one of the key messages that we've been trying to tell, to share, and to show how the diaspora is really important to help us spread the world.
Exactly. Now you came to my next topic, which is about African diasporas, because that's a huge resource that we can enhance, use. What should be done to make the diaspora come and serve its community?
Oh yes, so you have countries, I have more experience in Rwanda. I see how anytime that a Rwandese person go abroad and start to do studies, interesting work, you have members of Rwanda trying to keep in touch with you, show you what is happening, because sometimes you go abroad and you have no idea of how you could participate in the development of, for example, in the research, because I work in research. It's good to be aware. You need to be curious to learn from it, and also to get in touch with other diaspora communities to make sure that you know what is happening in your country, and also be the one to share the information.
That is so true. That is so true. And we should be able to use that properly.
Exactly.
So what do you think this event will bring a change on the medical sphere?
So I think people will maybe be more aware of the needs that we have and aware of their responsibility, because sometimes we tend to wait for others to tell us what we should do, how we should help our countries, but sometimes it also comes from us. So that's one of the key messages that I came to learn throughout my career, is to see that anyone, even if you're with your small position, you can help others. You can, guide them, give them advice, and have a bigger impact than what you had expected.
Exactly. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
If you have any last word that you would love to say to our audience, let me give you the chance.
So I want to say that Tanzania, I want to come. I want to visit, come to the country as well. Have more collaborations there as well. I've heard so many great things. I've learned a lot about the diaspora there, because we had people from our panel that are from Tanzania. They told us about some specific groups and communities that are being formed to help abroad and also bring people in Tanzania. So it's always exciting to see this motivation coming from different levels. We had professors, we had students. So all of us, we can make a big impact, a big change. So we just need to get together and believe that we can do it.
Exactly, believe that we could do it.
Yes,
thank you
so
and
much.
Have a great time.
Thank you.
Okay, it was lovely.
Thank you.
Our staying in this beautiful city hasn't ended yet. Now I'm going to be having a conversation with one of the people that will have a nice engagement. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you very much for having me. I look forward to the conversation.
Yes, so please introduce yourself and the organization you came from for our audience.
So I'm Lionel Green Thompson. I'm the Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences at the University of Cape Town in South Africa. And I've just been elected as the president of the Consortium of Medical Schools in Africa. It's newly launched during this meeting, with a conversation with over 130 deans in the room and additional people online.
Okay, that's such a huge step, and congratulations. How are you feeling to be elected as the
It's
president?
daunting.
Yes.
It's a little bit scary, because what we've committed to is the fact that it's the idea that we're Africans seeking African solutions. That's the key of what we're doing. And as we all know, there's significant health problems in Africa. And as educators of the next generation of health professionals, we need to make sure that they're ready for the complexity that they need to face. That's a real thing.
Exactly. So, how did you get the event? What was your reflection on this conference?
It's been an incredible meeting. I want to congratulate the University of Global Health Equity for their contribution to the management of the meeting, to Professor Abebe Bekele, who was the chair of the organizing committee. It's been a really amazing space to talk around many things. A real focus on technology. AI came up many, many times. But it's also been, for me, an affirmation of the humanity that Africa offers. The fact that all of these things, they're inevitable, that's true. But if we ensure that we keep the sense of our humanity as Africans, the sense of Ubuntu, the sense that I learned at the memorial, the genocide memorial, Ubumuntu, how do we be a person? And then how do we be a person in interaction with the technology? Because that's the key.
True.
The technology is coming. It's what we do with it as people that's going to matter.
So now we are based in Addis Ababa. We came here to overall show the conference for our audience. What do you think media has a role when it comes to creating a better education in medical spheres?
So I think that media has to tell the story of the success in what people have done. So I think there's so much happening in Ethiopia as well. I mean, Ethiopia and their expansion of the medical school system is phenomenal. Rwanda's doing a similar thing about changing the way things get done. There are changes throughout the continent. In South Africa, there are models of curriculum that are changing. And I think media needs to report on that. And especially to deepen the conversations and not only talk about health and health policy at a superficial level. I hope that the media is able to track the journey of this consortium in a way that continues to build and amplify the story that we're starting here.
Thank you for giving us your time.
No, thank you very much. Thank you.
If there's anything else that you'd love to say for our audience, then the floor is yours.
If not now, when? If not us, who? And I really want to add to that here we are starting a new organization. I'm hopeful that the energy will continue into translatable activity in the future. That's my hope. Yeah, so thank you very much for this opportunity.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our beautiful medical schools are surrounded by complete chaos. Whether it is war, epidemic, pandemic, or a natural disaster, what are we going to do? Are we going to stop waiting for the storm to pass? And do we really afford to pause training future medical doctors and health workforce? My name is Hiba Bulgasim. I'm the Chair of Educational Development and Quality Center at the University of Global Health Equity. But more relevant today, I'm someone who worked in hospitals during breakouts in conflict war Sudan, and also someone who taught behind a mask while my breast fogging my glasses during the COVID-19 pandemic that silenced cities around the world, but not the will to teach or learn. These two experiences of war and a pandemic rooted into me one unshakable truth, that when the world stops, medical education simply cannot.
My name is Fisseha and I'm a medical student from Nigeria. So far I've been thrilled by different sessions and the conversations around advancing medical students here in Africa.
Yeah, so as a participant, how was the event? How is the event actually as it is still going on? What's your reflection on that?
Okay, I think one of the things I find much interesting is the topic around diversification in the curriculum, medical school curriculum, and I find it quite interesting and engaging because it has helped opened me to see that efforts are being made to synergize all the medical school curriculum.
What do you think the effect of this event is going to be in the long run? As you are a medical student, I am a social science student, so I don't know much about medical things, but...
Okay, so I think it's going to go... It's making people informative, and then people going back to their different countries. I think it will stir up conversations and also stir up the deans on how they can modify the curriculum, which I think is a path to achieving great change in our medical school curriculum. However, even though there's much of a personal interest, I also consider it interesting to have some sort of financial education included in the medical school curriculum. And even though that has not been part of the conversation, but I would like to see how it goes from here.
Hi everyone, and first I want to say thank you to God, thank you Arts TV for letting me speak on this platform.
You're welcome.
But my name is Makda Mahari, and I am based in New York City, and I work in the human rights nonprofit space. And so in terms of my involvement in this conference, while I don't do clinical or medical work necessarily, a lot of the work that I do and that I've done in the past overlaps a lot with public health across the world, and more specifically some African regions. So.
Okay, so this conference was one of the biggest conferences held in Africa, especially related to medical education. So what was your reflection like? What was your overall analysis, I should say?
Well, one thing that I really enjoyed about this conference, as someone who has been to different international conferences in other continents, like in Europe and in North America, sometimes you go to big international conferences and it can feel a bit not elitist, but not everyone is able to participate in the same way. And here, something I observed and really appreciated about this conference is it engaged stakeholders in the clinical care and public health spaces at every level. It was deans, it was university representatives, faculty, students, policymakers, ministers, nonprofit actors, healthcare workers, and some of that in the more official, formal space, as well as some people who live here in Rwanda and do home visits as their day-to-day job here in the community. And everyone was given an equal platform to participate and share information. And it wasn't just you come to a conference and you only hear from men in suits type of thing.
Exactly. That's what I also felt. And you know, whenever you attend some kind of events, conferences, there's something that you get to absorb and be like, okay, this is something I'm gonna take personally, like for myself. What is that you have been able to choose that? Like, what is it that you have observed?
I would say, for me, something that I'm going to take back with me and that I've observed just in how this conference came together is that, you know, a lot of people talk about problems on the African continent as if we're doomed to suffer from them forever. And there are a lot of problems that we face that make coming together difficult sometimes, whether it's political instability, tribalism, whatever it is. But what I've learned from this conference and how it came together is that when you have a small group of people who are dedicated to a cause and willing to come together and spread the word, things can happen very fast. At the end of it, it's not just we had meetings and then we left. They formed a constitution, an executive committee. They made commitments to each other. Yes, a big network that can grow, because a lot of the African continent was represented here, but not all of it. So if this were to be a true Pan-African meeting and consortium that's developed out of this, that would be so critical. Yeah, I can't imagine the change and the scale, you know?
Exactly. So, like, I've heard that you involve on multiple things. And usually when you're a youth, the biggest challenge that you face is knowing what you want. And being able to set a direction, saying, okay, I'm going this way, so I should do this. So what is it that you're doing as a youth, as an African, to contribute what you can for your people?
I'll say, for me, a big part of it is educating myself, first and foremost, because we have a lot of people who, internationally, not just Africans, you know, a lot of medical mission trips to deliver supplies, care, whatever. And I've been on trips elsewhere too with like teams of doctors before. And a lot of people go to places and they are very skilled workers, but they have no knowledge about the environment or the people they're working in. So first is educating myself, not just about like my history and Ethiopia's history, but like the language, the culture, embedding myself in it first. And beyond that, with my group of friends, like in the diaspora community, always seeking out opportunities to get involved in community care work, support the Ethiopians in my local community, and look for opportunities like this. Like, I'm very fortunate to have parents who are so deeply involved in the nonprofit space and whose passions align with my own. And so looking for opportunities like this, conferences, meeting with my network. I'm based in New York City, like I said, and so I have a network of folks who work in the human rights space, a lot of whom in Africa. And I talk with them a lot and share my experience saying, if, you know, in your meetings, can you pass this on? Or if you can connect me with someone, like just always trying to build a network so that someone in every room will be able to care about Africa. Like make sure that there's at least one person in every room, policy space, whatever, that cares about Africa. Because this conference too, they were saying like a lot of the healthcare work, whatever, is so crucial, but we need policy people to be involved in this and care about this too. So the networking element, I think, is a big part of like my contribution, but in order to contribute, I need to know what I'm talking about. And I think a lot of people on and off continent need to take time to really study and learn about the history of their people.
Oh my goodness, I love the way you talk. So
No, you do.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience.
Yeah.
But like lastly, because there are a lot of youth watching, a lot of people in fact watching this show. So let me give you the chance to say your last words.
My last words, closing words. Well, I want to also in this give a shout out to Kigali for hosting us and hosting this event. And so something that I learned that they do here when I first arrived, the people, whether it was the driver who took us to the hotel or the person we met at the front desk, you know, they're like, oh, are you guys, I was with my mom, they're like, oh, are you mother, daughter? And we were like, yeah. And so they said, okay, then now you're my mother and you are my sister. And so whenever they would introduce us to someone, they would say, these are my family, this is my mother and my sister, take care of them. And even at the conference, like, you know, medical professionals, colleagues, whatever, you hear people on stage when they call it to someone in the audience, sorry, my brother, sorry, my sister, what was that you said, you know? So I think I liked seeing how that transitioned from just life here in Kigali into a very professional setting. And so I would say, to young people, to people in general, whenever we move through these spaces that we're talking about, whether it's day-to-day life, school, professional spaces, let's have a bit more care, a bit more empathy, a bit more knowing that the person, humanity, exactly. Yes. The knowing that the person across from you is your family at the end of the day. When one of us does better, all of us do better, you know? So I guess that is what I would say. And another part of something I observed here.
Yes.
So.
Wow, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was a lovely conversation.
Yes, thank you for
I'm mentally hugging you right now. No, like, come on.
Why mental when we can do it for real, you know?
Right? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye. Bye.
Sadly, we are at the closing ceremony of this huge event happening in Africa. And overall, when I tell you guys, it is actual time for Africa to stand up tall and stand up for what we believe and the things that we should be doing, which one of it being medical education. And such kind of events where we get to gather together, network, exchange experience, find the right mentorship is really important. And overall, in this event, we were able to discuss the role of AI or technology when it comes to advancing education, more specifically medical education. And besides that, we have tried to see how the diaspora living all across the globe can contribute back to its community, that can actually make a change, a difference to those people that are trying to make a change here in Africa. Besides that, I was able to see how we all have something in common. We as an Africans face a lot of common problems, a lot of challenges that you face it in one country and also another. So it is very quite simple. If we are facing the same challenge, especially when it comes to medical education, then we should gather together in such kind of events, communicate, talk, and be able to find the right solution for the common problems that we are facing. So guys, as we are concluding this event, sadly, I will be saying goodbye from here, from Kigali, Rwanda. The people are amazing. The weather is fabulous. The roads and every places that we've been, it's so clean. They're so welcome and they look like Ethiopians. It's crazy, guys. So our beloved audience, thank you so much for staying with us. As we conclude, I will say Murakoze, which means thank you in Kirungi. And thank you so much again. And I hope you guys have a good insight. Till then, but goodbye.